right. Miss Kim, do you mind doing roll call, please?
Certainly. Okay, Gus Zatuna,
Aye.
David Gittens,
Here?
Kendall Petzel,
Here.
Sam Morocco,
Here.
John Doolin,
Here.
Forrest Milzo, Supervisor Fail, Eric Yankee.
All right. Well, we do have a quorum. First thing that we need to do on the agenda is approve the minutes for the September 18th, 2024 regular minutes. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes for September 18th, 2024 regular meeting.
I will second.
All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Secondly, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes for October 16th, 2024 with a joint meeting with the CAC. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Moving right along, we've got, do we have any presentations? No?
All during the reports.
Okay, very good. And we don't have any public comment today. So we'll roll into the report from Mr. Carlo.
Okay, well, good news is that the asbestos abatement for the Corbin property is complete. That's been done. The bids went out, and the low bidder was Blue Star Demolition, substantially less than what some of the other bidders were for $9,800, less than $10,000. So that contract has been let. I think we're only waiting on one thing to get that started, and that is the disconnection. Did you have something to do with that?
On which one?
Consumers?
Yeah, didn't we just get an email saying that they had that disconnected already, or?
I didn't talk to Dave about it today.
Brian's been
can't-
out sick for
I
a couple
can't
days.
con-
Okay,
yeah,
well,
I
we'll
can't
we'll
confirm
find
that.
out, okay? But that
We were down to that.
we're down to that. The
Asbestos.
the asbestos removal firm told us that the shingles were not gonna be a problem because they're non-friable, so it can just be part of the whole demolition project. So we're in really good shape. My guess is they'll probably get that building down this winter.
Yeah,
It's a
soon.
small job,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
just perhaps when they're, get it into their schedule, and so now you're gonna have a blank slate here pretty soon. So
Who's
moving that along.
scheduling that, Brian? Is Dave handling it?
Yeah, Dave's
Okay.
taking care of it.
I,
Yeah.
He's gonna push him to get in right away, so we can get it.
Yeah, there's still time to revegetate it a little bit probably too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they'll have to seed and straw it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all going quite well. Tonight I am giving you your annual report. Normally this is done earlier in the year, but circumstances were with the CIA, we tried to do this with both the CIA and the DDA. Usually we've tried to do this in the springtime of the year. It makes more sense to have a 2023 or a 2024 annual report, when we get all the financials done
Mhm.
by that point in time. The reason we do it in the springtime is because all the winter tax collections are still coming in February, I think February 15th or something like that. And that way we know what your full collection has been in terms of TIF revenues. Anyway, needless to say, the DDA is moving along quite well. I mean, we anticipated, we have 124,000 in TIF revenues this year, anticipated to increase, I believe, to around 160 next year. That's simply just an estimate. It may be more. I doubt if it'll be less. And out of there, you do have an obligation to the township board, I believe, of something like $60,000 to repay. So next year, you will net roughly $100,000, which should be more than enough to do this Corbin project, this entryway project. So financially, I think you're heading in, you're in good shape. You now have some, you have some funds to work with. We have because of the revenues that had been collected and the expenditures, this will go up, but by the end of November, the fund balance was only $25,000 out of that because we had to spend the $60,000 to repay the board. There are some legal fees associated with that, and you have not fully collected all the revenues you're gonna collect this year. So, because those were all from the summer tax collections. Now that you're into winter tax collection, well, not quite yet, maybe, you'll collect a little bit more there. So that fund balance for by year end will go up, and then we start over the next year with the whole TIF collection period. So the bulk of the winter taxes, or the balance of the winter taxes, and then the summer taxes, you'll be roughly around $160,000 in tax revenue collections next year, combined with whatever fund balance we end up at the end of this year, which will probably be roughly $40,000. You'll have a couple $100,000 minus the 60 that you repay the board. So that can give you a rough idea that you're going to have in excess of $100,000 probably to work with. So, so depending on what this project turns out to be, then I know some of the other things you're talking about with are some sort of the immediate impact of things like banners and things like that. You'll likely be able to do that next year. So I think it's very encouraging.
Okay. On that note, I have an update for the banners. So I talked to the company today, Signs and More. So they do the banners for downtown Clarkston. So thank you for that referral, Kendall. So I talked to them. They're very professional. They got back to me very quickly. They gave me kind of an idea. So they do different banner sizes from 17 inches by 24 all the way up to 2 feet by 5 foot banners, which seem really big, but that's what they use in Bloomfield right now. So the range in price for the smaller is $54 per banner, and then it goes all the way up to $100 per banner. So I don't know exactly how many light poles we have in the district, but I was driving down today and it's a lot. It seems like a lot, maybe
Over 200.
over 200. Okay, I was guessing 200, so I asked them to give me a budget based on, if we were gonna do every other light post, then we're talking 100. So, that would be, if we do 4 different seasons, that's 400. So we could talk about doing 2 seasons, we could keep it at 4 seasons, but even with the smaller banners, you got 100 light posts, or 100 banners, that means that we're gonna be at $5,400. And then there's also brackets to hang them up. Sam had talked to
Dave McKee,
and he had given us an idea of what brackets we could use, but I didn't get a price tag on that. The banner company also provides them for a price of $150 per. So that's, in addition to, so we're talking,
So,
another
yeah.
amount. Go
So
ahead, Sam.
I think that from talking to Dave, he's got a bracket company that he recommends using. They've, I'm sure, used different ones, and they're gonna be the guys touching the flags,
Mhm.
Sounded like we should just decide the mass of the banner and then pair it to the correct to the bracket that fits it and do it that way, I tried to get a schematic of where all the lights were. He wasn't able to produce every pole, but he did give me a count. I don't know if the map exists. There probably is somewhere, you would think. But we were talking, because of the mass of them, because, that it's gonna when I drive, I'm on Dixie every day. I think you're gonna wanna be, every 5 light posts before there's a flag, but then on the other side of the street, the odd posts, like, maybe like stagger them to cover more ground, so maybe every 3 posts there's a flag, but one's on one side of the road, then one's on the other, then one, or every 4 or 5, because they're so close.
They're
If
very
you put a
close.
good-sized flag up, you're not gonna need them within 5 light posts of each other. You know,
Yeah.
it's gonna be too busy. It's gonna be overwhelming, you know?
Okay.
But I would, you know,
So,
we have the money to invest, so I would be in favor of doing whatever we think would be the best looking, best quality, best times of year, like not cut back on the flags, because once you do this, it's forever. It's gonna be hard to go back and start the process again, so I wouldn't wanna do it kinda short, I wanna do it so, not, because we're being frugal, you know.
you can always add if you find.
Yeah, you
out
can,
something.
right. That's why I'm saying, I'm already thinking that,
Yeah.
you know, just from my opinion and talking to Dave, that we're gonna be pretty far apart because of how close the poles are. They're so close together, you know?
David, what did you say the per banner cost was?
So it's between $54 per banner, if they're smaller, or the very large, I mean, they're 5 feet, like they're almost as tall as me. Those are $100 per.
So that's only, if you say 200 light posts and do it once every 5, did you say every 5?
Mm-hmm.
That's only that's 40.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's only $6,000
Mhm.
plus the brackets,
Right.
which are a one-time
But
expenditure.
if we do 4 seasons, it's
Yeah,
times 4.
well,
Yeah.
that's true,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, I guess that's what we gotta figure out the banner thing, but I think that less banners but bigger is
Yeah.
better than more banners that are smaller.
Yeah, I
You know,
agree.
because you don't want it to be busy,
Yeah.
I just identify, you know, so I don't know how you got a committee, wasn't somebody on that part of the banner
I mean,
thing?
the only subcommittees that we had were, location, which we have
Right.
for the pocket park, and then we've got, for the sign itself, the entryway
Oh,
sign.
right.
So we didn't actually have one for banners. But, I mean, I think this is good. I think that's wise what you brought up, is to do every 5 or 4 or whatever, every 2, that does seem pretty busy.
I think we gotta get the schematic, I'll work on getting that drawing from Dave.
And I don't know if that adjusts the price, I don't know, I did it based on 100, so they might have given me a discount for that,
Right.
but I'm sure it's not a huge difference. But I think that's something, and I know Gus, you brought this up in the past, this is something that we could do quickly, and it looks like we're, doing something in the district, and it allows, the citizens and bystanders to know, hey, we're doing something. Ms.
So
Harper.
I have a question about, if you're talking with them concerning price, can we do now, get it active for this winter season, go back and buy the spring ones after our tax flow money have come in, do the spring ones then, or the summer ones then, or however, 3 seasons, 2 seasons, whatever we're gonna do. Order the next set of flags a second time on a separate order and hold the prices.
You mean if we don't have all the money right now?
We have the money right now,
Yeah.
but my question is if we're gonna buy the brackets, we're gonna put them up, we don't even know what they're looking like yet.
Mhm.
If we order the winter ones now, let's say,
right.
and then we take a look at them and say, okay, now, a couple months down the road, we wanna put the spring or summer ones up, the second ones up. Let's order those at a later point. Once we get these up and see what we got, we can make adjustment to the order and hold the price instead of ordering all 3 seasons or all 4 seasons at one time.
Yeah,
Because bulk, I'm thinking you're getting a better deal, I'm
Right.
assuming. So,
yeah, that's
I don't
good.
know, they might, just for the first time, through, because we don't really know until they're all up what they're really gonna look like. And we may want more, we may want a few less, we don't know until we're
Mhm.
looking at them, right? It's hard to envision when you're talking that many flags, it's a lot. And curves and things will look different,
Right.
so.
Yeah, that's good perspective. So, I can definitely talk to them about that. They're very easy to get a hold of. So it sounds like we're on a good pace, and what you just brought up, it'd be great to have Christmas ones, but, that's a month away, so it's not likely to, but a good target would be spring, to have them designed, ready to go. We can have them up in spring. And,
And if we go with prepackaged ones, they're already there, they're just gonna get to us.
Yeah.
But we gotta have the manpower to put them up. So
Yeah,
it's going to be spring before we get our first ones up.
sure. And I would hope that, we could use, the resources of DPW to help put those up. That would be my hope. But we'll
You don't
see.
wanna put them up?
I don't wanna put them up, no. I wanna look at them,
I
yes.
think so.
Is there, Dick, how does the appropriations work on, like this, just purchasing, because we're just buying stuff? Can we just buy stuff? Do we have to,
Well, we have a budget. I mean, I guess I'd have to defer, on the procurement policy,
yeah, that's what
whether,
I'm at, yeah.
the problem is that there's not a lot of banner companies around. I mean, Kalamazoo Banner Works is pretty much the only game in town. And I think the spending limit is $15,000 as it is anyway. But, I mean, you are, once you've had your budget approved, you have authority to spend that budget.
Okay.
So when we did this budget this year, we made it sufficiently generalized that it was predominantly for the sign, but there's money in there to be able to do other beautification things in there too. So that's for the '25 budget.
So Dick, on that subject, for audit purposes, though, are we regulated through the finance audit procedures? Is, I think, where we're going with this question, is to getting the appeal bids and mandated to take the lower of the bids, that sort of thing, that whatever township policy is audit-wise.
Yeah, there is a township policy in that regard. I mean, I think when there's certain, for example, the brackets, there is a certain specific type of bracket that fits those light poles are fluted light poles.
Yeah.
And so consequently, you may be limited in terms of being able to even go out for bids for that. And frankly, if it's an item that it's what the DPW is specifying, I doubt that we would have to go out for bids for that. The banners, it might be that we have to get, cost estimates from more than one banner company. But normally they don't do bids for stuff like that. It's just like an online retailer essentially. You'd have to just, shop for price and basically try to be, but, the thing about something like that is you want to make sure that you buy something that's good. Because there's a lot of stuff that I've seen communities do that they just put up cheap stuff and it doesn't last. You want to get it from a reputable company like Kalamazoo Banner Works, so.
And I think to that point, once you determine that, you have to have your paperwork in order to show you did your research
Sure.
from multiple companies in order for
Yeah.
finance to be able to support the decisions we've made, if we're gonna be held to the same procedures as city operating. I don't know, because we're a board, if that is.
Well, you
holds.
are, but there are, I think, circumstances, and we'll make sure that you're covered in that regard. But you are held to the same standards, because you are actually, your records are part of the annual audit, you're part of the township's budget. You're not an autonomous body from that standpoint.
So we can't just say, let's go get Kalamazoo Banners and get their prices and take them and be done.
Well,
we
it-
do have
only
to
if
You
you,
might be able to, depends on the cost.
yeah,
But
and
you
only
have
if,
to support your research on that, I would think, for,
It's
Well-
less than $15,000, it doesn't sound like it.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be $50,000, not 15.
yeah, and we don't have to take the lowest bid either. We don't have to, that's not a mandate to take the lowest bid that I'm aware
well,
of.
particularly when there's an issue of quality
Yeah.
involved.
As long as you can explain it out.
Correct.
What I'm saying is, you can't just go to one. My understanding is you can't just go to one and stop. You have to look at your options.
Yeah.
And you have to back it up by saying, this is a better quality, so therefore we're not, and so we have to have our ducks in a row for that.
Sure.
Sure.
also.
Yeah.
No, that's a great point, and then, we can do that, we've already got the one, estimate, so we can go to a different company and, I don't know if they have to bid, but it sounds like, they're not gonna bid, but if we can show, hey, this is what one company's doing, this is what a second company, third company,
And
this
then
is,
this is why we chose what we did.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah, we
document.
wanna be compliant, absolutely. So that, are you done, talking about the annual report, Mr. Crowe?
Yes, I am. It will be going to the township board in December 17th.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, very good. The next item of business is the park design discussion. So we talked about this at our last meeting. What I think that we should do is we should have subcommittees, discuss, maybe section off, what's the park gonna look like? And what is the sign gonna look like? Or some sort of that, but, you know, that might speed up how quickly we have designs. I know that if anybody's driven down Baldwin recently, they're putting in a pocket park there. It's got some sidewalk, kind of meandering. It looks really nice. I've been meaning to stop by and take a picture of the sign to see who's designing it. They seem to be putting it together really quickly. It's not exactly what we had in mind, but you know, they're obviously very competent, and they're putting it together very quickly, so they might be able to help us get an estimate of what they would charge to do something similar. So getting the design ready seems like the direction we need to be in. Obviously, it doesn't sound like we'd be in any position to break ground before spring. You know, we're waiting for the demo. We're waiting on a lot of things. So if the sooner we get the design ready and approved, the sooner we can be in a position to move forward. Right.
You wanna put a
Great.
subcommittee together for that, for the park part,
Yeah,
separate from the sign people?
I think that would be wise.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm not on the sign committee, so I don't know what other committees or who's on what committees, so.
So far, we only had two subcommittees. We had one for signage, and then we had one for acquisition. And
Yeah.
So now that acquisition piece is, you know, kind of done, so it's possible that we could just reassign those same board members to
Well,
the design.
Park.
I'm happy to do it with John. I don't know who else is open. Kendall?
Yeah, I'll do that.
I don't know if Dave knows who's on whose boards. I don't know who's on that other committee.
Well, we've lost some members and gained new ones, so
Okay.
we kind of have to change that up. So, you know, I'd like to stay on the sign committee. Ms. Harper, you on the sign committee with me?
Correct.
Who else was on it? I know some people from the CAC showed up, but I don't,
Right, that's the only ones
That was
I
it.
know.
okay. Does anybody else want to be part of the sign?
Sign.
Okay. All right, awesome. So do we need to vote on that? Okay. So, I think it should be our goal to, by next meeting, have subcommittees, you know, discuss what we can do for the
Okay.
design and what we can do for the sign. So when we meet again, we can have a pretty clear-cut idea of what direction we're gonna go in, what designs we might have. Fair?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do we have our next meeting scheduled? Is it in December or?
No, it's usually every 3
January?
months, so,
Okay.
and that's another thing that we have to talk about is our 2025 meeting schedule. So that's the next order of business. Is anybody in favor of changing it? So right now, we're doing about every 3 months at 6 PM on Wednesdays. Does anybody think we need to have more meetings? Think we need to have,
I do.
okay? all
Could we
right.
do bi-monthly instead of
that's what
every
it
3
is.
months?
It is bi-monthly?
Are we every other
Well-
month now? Yeah, because we knew we needed more time to put this
Okay.
together. So I'd like to meet at least every other month, like in January, you
Okay.
know? That's,
Well, especially if you're really gonna start doing these projects, you've got to meet more regularly.
yeah.
Yeah,
And come in and make decisions,
sure,
so, at least every other month.
Yeah.
For now.
yeah, and subcommittees should meet in between those meetings,
Right.
absolutely.
Now, are we always the third Wednesday? Okay.
Yeah, that's what you set it up.
Okay.
You can change that, it's up
No.
to you, you're the board.
Yeah.
It works with this room.
I'm fine with keeping it that way, so, I'd like to make a motion to keep our, meetings, on a bi-monthly manner, starting in January of 2025.
Before we do that,
Yes,
one, I apologize, I was late. I found out that I have 3 of these meetings on this night, 5:30, and 6.
Okay.
So it would be my request if we could bump this out a little bit. Can we do it at 6:30? That way I can do the other one. Would that work with everybody? I know it's an ask right out of the gate, but
Well, I will say characteristically, and I don't know if it has to do with the cable guy, because this is probably the only meeting that's televised. And I know that we pushed back, the planning commission used to meet at 6:30 and they kept pushing us to be at 6. Is it still at 6? Is it back at 6 now?
Still at 6.
It's still,
Could we go earlier?
they tried to get the boards all to coincide with the same, at 6 o'clock every meeting. We used to be 6:30 years ago at the meetings, and everybody moved them up. I think it was because the people that work in the township hall wanted to be able to come to, right from work to the meeting instead of go home and then drive back, you know, at some point. But I don't care either way. It's, as long as, as long as John, the TV guy, I think is the only person that would be considered, but you're.
well, John is on the other meeting at 5:30.
Well, his people, whoever's
Right.
running this right now,
Um,
but I don't care either way.
Yeah, I'm game. I'm flexible.
It's every other month, starting in
I'm
January,
flexible.
but with the birth.
6:30 is easier.
Ms. Harper?
6:30 is fine with me. I
Okay.
mean, I can't go earlier, so
Okay.
it only can go that way.
Okay.
Okay.
Does
So
6:30
do you
work
want
for you
6:30?
guys?
Yeah, we have to vote on it, but yes.
So that's the bi-monthly meeting, moved to 6:30 if the cable guy is good with that?
Yeah, 6:30 PM. I'll
And
make a
then-
motion
I'll second.
to move change the meeting times for the Downtown Development Authority to 6:30 PM on the third Wednesday of the month, with bi-monthly meetings starting January 2025.
I'll second that motion.
All right.
And the
Uh,
subcommittee meetings won't be necessarily scheduled, they'll just be a pop-up.
Correct.
Yeah.
We'll schedule them internally, the subcommittee meetings with the group.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay, awesome.
Appreciate it.
All right, yeah, so 6:30 it is. That's pretty much, everything that we've got on the ticket here. We've got room for public comments. There's nobody here. We do have 2 new members, so I want to acknowledge that. So John Doolin, thank you for stepping up and joining. We look forward to you helping us out, getting this going. We have a lot of great ideas, and so the more people that we have showing up with additional ideas and outlook and perspective, I think we can only gain from that. And then Mr. Chuck File, you're the new supervisor, so welcome.
Thank you.
Happy to have you. Yeah. Mr. Morocco, did you have something to
I
say?
had just, I wanted to talk to Dick. So on the mass transit, the mass transit millage,
Right.
we've applied for some of the grant money from Oakland County directly to possibly go towards this project.
No, we have not,
No,
because
I'm telling you what
you did?
what we did do.
Okay, good.
Okay?
I'm gonna say, we did not.
No, I know. No, what I'm saying is that they had, I don't know, was it about a month ago, Brian, or whatever? They released a thing saying that, Monday at 11, we're gonna tell you how to apply for
Okay,
$2
yeah,
million
right.
of the mass transit money.
Yep, yeah, I saw that notice. right.
So, I
Good.
worked with, Lauren in the, PR department, and we watched the tutorial. It
Sure.
was an online, Zoom meeting, and then the form was there to follow, and then and it gave you potential projects that we could use it for. So
Good.
we did apply as for funding for the future bus stop that this would be when the bus finally gets here. Put in there, we're 4.5 miles from the closest bus stop right now in Pontiac. So we let them know that we put this pocket park and future bus stop as close as we could, to there, to maybe.
Yeah, you don't have
so
much choice.
Hey, maybe someday we're gonna see a bus, so that we were proactive in the township. We've already acquired land for it. We're putting in a park. We're asking for some funding we could apply for some design funding So we put in for like 15 grand for that.
Great.
There was like 50, so there were all these caps, and we didn't go to the max of anything. We looked up, what does a tire repair station cost? What does a nice, modern sheltered
Mhm.
bench cost, you know? And we put some numbers together, and then we asked for money for those types of amenities. Even putting in money to do a decel lane in front of the park so that a bus could pull out of traffic if it was a bus stop.
Mhm.
You know, like you were going,
Yep.
in, you know, in front of that spot. So we did, I don't remember what the total dollar amount was, but we
Great.
did it pretty reasonably,
Mm-hmm.
thinking that maybe they would throw us a bone because we weren't asking for, like everyone else's, for everything. We were just being realistic, and maybe they could sprinkle some fairy dust out more with less numbers. So I wanted to, I didn't know if we had the meeting since then. And
Yeah,
told you
no, I
that,
did,
but
I
so
was
we-
not
we
aware
are.
of that. Yeah, I know, we had talked about it, but I don't, yeah.
It was kind of a, email went out, and
Yeah.
that was the deadline. So my only question for you is do you know, or how do we find out, like, when are they, because if we would be in the running for funding and say there's a January 1st, they're gonna award the
I can
grant,
find
you
out.
know, or something, it'd be nice to know,
Yeah.
because we might be able to, then have an idea if we're gonna get any of those. It's like, there was like 6 different categories, for something to do with how this would help for mass transit and
Right.
safety, you know, issues and pedestrian movements. And so we kinda, went after what we could,
Yeah.
just to make sure that, we didn't miss the window, you know?
Yeah, I can find out. The gentleman that runs that for Oakland County now worked in Ann Arbor for 20-some years, and I knew Eli Cooper, and known Eli very well, so I can certainly give him a call.
Yeah, just so you know, there's
Yeah.
a application floating around in there.
I should report something else to the DDA that I'm not sure you're aware of. I don't think we reported it at the last meeting because we didn't know. But MDOT has programmed the improvement of the White Lake Road intersection. Design is to be done next year, and the project is to occur in 2026. There's one element that I want to make you aware of. They have nothing planned for the north leg of White Lake Road next to the Walgreens. We believe that would be a mistake not to do something there, but they don't have any money budgeted for that. So the township has received some preliminary information from White Lake, from MDOT, about what we actually have to work with there. And what really needs to happen there is there needs to be a dedicated right turn from White Lake Road onto Dixie Highway. And they have nothing planned for that. This would be a worthwhile project for the township to pursue. There needs to be right-of-way acquired from Walgreens. That's one of the things. And then obviously, there would need to be some construction improvements, but we'll get, you know what, from my experience with these types of roadway projects, you get one shot at being able to have some impact upon it. And this will be your one shot to get that intersection done properly. So let's keep that on our radar screen. Yes.
Dick, I know it's not on their radar, but, you know, if we were, instead of us absorbing it, if we were a contributor, I know our odds are a lot greater for them to be a participant. How would that dialogue start to say, like, hey, if we split it with you, would you finish doing the intersection 100%? I know that part's not on the radar, but it might be if we were to
Well,
split it with them.
here's what, and just like we did here, what the advantage would be if we would be able to, front some cost on this, is that there's gonna be an economy of scale if they include that in their project. So there will be a cost savings. I don't think they will spend any money per se on that part of the project, because they've told us they have not budgeted for that. They don't have budget for it. But we'll still get it done in a less costly manner, as I think you're probably aware, if we do include it in their project.
Right.
Because if you have to come back and do that later, you're just gonna be ripping up the road again. And for a small project, it would be really probably cost prohibitive. So that's why I'm making you aware of this. This is really something I think we need to roll up our sleeves and work on, because needs right away, and then I mean, if we can tell MDOT that we'll come up with the money to do that improvement, they'll do it. They'll include it in the project, and we'll get some benefit out of that from them doing that.
What's the process to start the process? First, we wouldn't want to start trying to acquire an easement, right, unless we had some kind of agreement from them that
Well, I think we
it's
could
doable, or do you do
probably,
both?
I think we could probably encourage them to do some kind of preliminary design for us so that we know exactly what we're looking at. I mean, wouldn't have to be much, but if we get a preliminary design from them, then we'll know what we're looking at here. And I mean, and, our township engineers can come up with some cost estimates and things like that. But yes, I think that would be the first step is to ask MDOT if they'll at least, at a minimum, just come up with a preliminary design, because we have a real desire. I mean, it would be a tremendous mistake if you let this opportunity go by, I think, because you just won't be able to do it again.
And it's a very challenging process because we looked up the old plans for the Walgreens, and that's where sewer and water mains are, where this roadway would be extended.
Mhm.
So it's gonna be a tricky
Yeah, it's gonna be a tricky
process to
design. But we
make
may,
all that happen.
we may have a little bit of room to play with on the opposite side, since we own that already. That's township cemetery property, maybe not a lot. But, there's also water and sewer funds that can go towards the relocation of some of the utilities too. But, just I've seen too many times where we miss an opportunity, and you don't take advantage of it when it's occurring, which, and you just won't get a chance
They're already
again.
there. It's already an inconvenience, might as well bust it out.
Yeah.
Does that go through the supervisor's office, Dick? Is that who would,
Yeah,
welcome.
it will be. Definitely, it needs to be pushed from the top. And with the DDA in place, it's a great opportunity, because, this bill won't come due till 2026. So we've got time to plan on it, program it. You can contribute some. Hopefully, the township might be able to contribute some. We do have some excess millage money that is
Yeah.
maybe already committed, I don't know. But anyway, it's just it's a worthwhile thing to be able to really, pursue, because you won't get a second chance at this.
Is there a way to petition MDOT to add it to their budget, so it's not coming out of our budget?
I think they flat out told us no.
Yeah, we've asked.
Okay.
They said no, Yeah, they said that, they're not, and they don't have to acquire any property to do the south leg, because they have the right of way, and they really don't like to buy property to do road projects. I mean, even though it happens, that's a lengthy, that condemnation process. So it'd be a lot better if we could negotiate something with the property owners to be able to get that improvement done.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Any other thoughts, concerns? The only one thing I want is for somebody to get the schematics for the light posts, so I can get a couple more estimates for banners.
I will continue to work on that with Dave McKee.
Okay, thank you. So if there's nothing else, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Second?
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, great meeting, guys.